Ravana was ashamed, and as there was no other course left open to him, he bet a hasty retreat. His pride was humbled, and he sat in his palace dejected. Suddenly a thought struck him. He ordered Kumbhakarna to be roused from his long sleep. The generals prodded Kumbhakarna with sharp instruments and goaded tuskers buttered to him, but to that no purpose. They had all placed behind him huge quantities of delicious food. Its fragrance woke him up. Brushing aside all the elephants and the great demon heroes who were standing by, he yawned loudly and sat up. Then he began to eat and drink. Heaps of meat of various kinds and large barrels of blood and wine were consumed by him. When his hunger somewhat appeased, the demons explained the situation to him. On hearing this, Kumbhakarna rolled his eyes in anger and said, "What? Is this true? I will first go and kill Rama and Lakshmana and then come to see my brother." But they persuaded him to see Ravana first, take instructions from him before going to meet the army. Kumbhakarna agreed to this and marched into the presence of Ravana. Ravana was very glad to see his brother. He got down from his throne and embraced him. He informed him about all the events and begged him to save Lanka from the destructive hands of Rama. Kumbhakarna laughed and said, "You need not have to have any fear of any kind when I am alive, my brother." So saying, he marched into the battlefield with a number of chiefs. He roared his battle cry, which sounded like thunder in the ears of monkeys. Seeing the giant moving slowly towards them like a walking mountain, all the monkeys took their heels in terror. Rallied by Angada, however, they came back again and tried to face Kumbhakarna. They attacked him with uprooted trees and threw several boulders on him. But these missiles struck the giant's body and fell into pieces. No more could the monkeys stand before Kumbhakarna. They fled in all directions to save their lives, but Hanuman brought them back. They marched against Kumbhakarna and once more hurled their weapons on his body. A jagged rock from Hanuman's hand struck Kumbhakarna on his breast and he began to bleed. But he unheedingly struck Hanuman with a lance, who fell down spouting blood. Nila and others attacked again. Several monkey chiefs flew up and landed on the various parts of the giant's body and began to bite him with their teeth and tear him with their nails. He tried to shake them off, but they hung on to him. He plucked a handful of them above his body and put them into his mouth and literally swallowed them. Later he rushed towards Rama, ignoring the attacks of Lakshmana and others. A terrible duel followed between Rama and Kumbhakarna. Finding that ordinary arrows were useless against the demon, Rama discharged an arrow, sacred to the wind god. This weapon tore off Kumbhakarna's hands. Another arrow cut off his legs. He fell down with a mighty crash. He was now only an ugly creature, devoid of arms and legs. And yet, he opened his cave-like mouth and with his long tongue swept many monkeys into it. Another arrow cut off his head from the trunk and swept it out of sight. The head rose into the sky and dashed itself against the gate post of Lanka. Thus ended the saga of Kumbhakarna.